Hi everyone, welcome back to Wilde Reads. My name is Dave. Today is the second part of the September book haul. Roll the titles. Hi everyone, welcome back. As I said in the introduction, this is the second part of my September book haul. Not as many books in this part of the book haul as there was in the first part of the book haul. I'm just looking down here to see how many. There still seems quite a few. I do seem to be still hauling an extraordinary amount of books, and I put this down to a few reasons. Number one, I just can't resist buying books, as I'm sure many of you suffer with the same ailment that I do. And number two, I keep watching booktube videos and I keep seeing lots and lots of recommendations. So I just can't walk past the shop anymore and not go in and buy books. So, we're going to start. Where do we usually start? We start at the beginning, don't we? Okay, so Non-Fiction November is something that's coming up that I am delighted to be taking part in, as I've got lots and lots of non-fiction books that I want to read. Is this light a bit glary today? I feel like I'm being interrogated. Yeah, so Non-Fiction November is coming up, and I'm delighted to be doing it. A, because I do like taking part in these things, as I'm still quite new to BookTube. I do like taking part in these initiatives that crop up on BookTube. So very excited to be doing Non-Fiction November. And the second big reason is that I've got a lot of non-fiction on my bookshelves waiting to be read, and it just gives me the perfect opportunity to just cross a few of these beauties off of my list. So I came across this the other day. This is a book called Forensics, The Anatomy of Crime by Val McDermid. Now, she is an extremely successful thriller writer, and I'm sure many of you would have read books by her, but this is a non-fiction book where she looks at the processes of the forensic investigation when it comes to murder. And it says, in her novels, Val McDermid has been solving complex crimes and confronting unimaginable evil for years. Now she's taking a look at the people who do it for real, the forensic scientists who can unlock apparent mysteries and help deliver justice, thanks to their ability to read the messages left by a corpse, a crime scene, or the faintest of human traces. So that I'm really looking forward to reading that, because that I read another book. You may remember it was called The Jigsaw Man, and I think it was written by a guy called Paul Britton. I read it years and years ago, and he was a forensic anthropologist or a forensic scientist, and that was very good in looking at the ways that the police and the authorities investigate murder. The next one is a brand new book that I've picked up, and this is All Our Wrong Todays by Ilan Masti. Masti. If I'm getting that wrong, please help me out, somebody. But All Our Wrong Todays. This is published by Penguin Michael Joseph, and the blurb says, it's 2016, and in Tom Barron's world, technology has solved all of humanity's problems. There's no war, no poverty, no underripe avocados. Unfortunately, Tom isn't happy. He's lost the girl of his dreams. And what do you do when you're heartbroken and have access to a time machine? Something very stupid indeed. Finding himself stranded in a terrible alternate reality, which we immediately recognise as our 2016, the all too familiar real world, Tom is desperate to fix his mistake and go home, right up until the moment he discovers wonderfully unexpected versions of his family, his career, and the woman who just might be the love of his life. Doesn't that sound fantastic? I can't wait to read that, and I might read it in October. I was going to be doing Victober, but I'll tell you about that in a moment. The next new book is, and this is, well, it was new when I bought it. It's since come out in paperback. This is Cousins by Sally Vickers. This is again published by Penguin Viking, and it says, utterly compelling. Cousins is a remarkable book about the strange tact and terrors of family life and the histories that haunt it. Vickers writes of relationships with undaunted clarity and writes sentences of plain and amazing subtlety. So it's 1994 and young Will Tye has suffered an appalling accident. The catastrophe affects the lives of 3 generations of the Tye family and leads to the revelation of dark secrets long held and deeply disturbing, told through the eyes of 3 women close to Will: his sister, his grandmother and his aunt. Cousins is a novel that takes us from the outbreak of the Second World War to the present day. Weaving joy and tragedy, this powerful novel explores inherited family trauma and transgression, the limits of morality and the lengths to which real love, when tested, will ultimately go. That sounds utterly, utterly fantastic. It's got some beautiful artwork there, if I can wave it around in this very harsh lighting today. Might have to tone this bulb down a little bit. I'm going to finish these videos with a 10. Now, the next book is an author that I've read very little of. He's written a lot of books now, and I read a book of his many years ago called A Widow for 1 Year, and this is John Irving. Now, I understand that John Irving is a very Marmite kind of author. Some people really get him and really dig what he does, and other people just can't stand him. I've only read one of his books, and I absolutely loved it, and it was a long, long time ago, probably about late 90s. I read A Widow for 1 Year. So this is Last Night in a Twisted River, published by Black Swan. It's 1954. In the cookhouse of a logging and sawmill settlement in northern New Hampshire, an anxious 12-year-old boy fatally mistakes the local constable's girlfriend for a bear. Both the 12-year-old and his father become fugitives to Boston, to southern Vermont, to Toronto, pursued over the years by the implacable constable. Their lone protector is a fiercely libertarian logger, once a river driver, who befriends them and distantly watches over them like a vast idiosyncratic guardian. So I know John Irving books, they're usually of this sort of length. So I'm going to give John Irving another go because I've only read one of his and it was really good. Now, the next book, I'm going to try and keep this video a little bit shorter because I realised my last one was a bit of a marathon. It's a lot shorter than it was pre-edit. So the next book is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, and this is a book that I'm going to read in October as a nod, as Wilde reads nod to Victober, because I was going to take part in Victober all month, but there's a couple. I don't want to read Victorian literature for a whole month, not when I'm so new to this, because I have so much other literature to read. So I might do the whole thing next year, but I'm certainly going to give Victober a nod. And one of the ways I'm going to doff my cap at Victober is to read Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. So I'm probably going to talk about this. I'm going to film a gymwag next week, probably Wednesday of next week. There'll be another gymwag, and I'll talk about Victober, and I'll talk more about non-fiction November. But I shall be reading this during October. The next one is Andrea Levy, Small Island. This is published by Review. And it is 1948 and England is recovering from a war. But at 21 Nevern Street, London, the conflict has only begun. Queenie Bligh's neighbours do not approve when she agrees to take in Jamaican lodgers. But with her husband Bernard not back from the war, what else can she do? Gilbert Joseph was one of several thousand Jamaican men who joined the RAF to fight against Hitler. Returning to England as a civilian, he finds himself treated very differently. Gilbert's wife, Hortense, has longed to leave Jamaica and start a better life in England. But when she joins him, she is shocked to find London shabby, decrepit and far from the city of her dreams. Even Gilbert is not the man she thought he was. Now, so this one, the Whitbread Book of the Year, the Whitbread is now obviously the Costa, and it also won the Orange Prize for fiction when it came out. I'm not sure when this came out now. I think this book's been kicking around for some while, so it came out in 2004. So that seems a corker, and I'm not sure why I haven't read that yet. But I have now hold it, and the last books is a little trio of Sebastian Barry. So I found these in a charity shop, and I just whipped them off the shelves straight away. So the first one is, we've got The Temporary Gentleman by Sebastian Barry. I'm not going to read the blurbs of all these because these are quite well known. Then we've got On Cannon's Side by Sebastian Barry. And then we've got The Secret Scripture. I used to own this in hardback, but I think I lent it out to someone and I didn't ever get it back. So there's a little trio of Sebastian Barry books that I will catch up with at some point. That was it. That was my September book haul part 2. A couple of bits of channel housekeeping to do. Recently I went over 400 subscribers, so thank you. If I haven't thanked you before, thank you for tuning into my channel. I continue to be entirely appreciative of all the comments and all the lovely messages that I get, so thank you very much. And that is all I have for you today. On Sunday I will be back at my usual 9 AM British Standard Time for my September wrap up. It's wrap up time again. That went quick, didn't it? So it's wrap up time again, and this time next week I shall be back with Gimwag. Yes, Gimwag is back. It has made it to a second month, and I shall look forward to that because it just gives me the excuse to have some gin as well. You can't say that this channel is anything but honest. So until I see you again, have a great week. Enjoy your books. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.